And I told you, I want to have a candid conversation. We can sugarcoat and powder coat, whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to what kind of preparations you made. Well, good evening, Campfire crew. This is Tony and Stella checking in beside the marker board. So why in the world do we have a marker board out here? In the last video, I told everybody that I want to have a candid conversation about the things that I saw working storm duty. So we were in Georgia. We were in Eufaula for 2 days and in Georgia for 11 days. And restored a lot of power, got a lot of lights on. But being there opened up a door for me to see how people were really hurting and the suffering that goes on in people's lives. And I told you, I want to have a candid conversation. We can sugarcoat and powder coat, whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to what kind of preparations you made. And I ain't by no means a prepper, but could you survive for 7 to 10 to 14 days without power or without water? So that's the question. And I want to say this about one thing that we learned while we were up there, that when a person is miserable, I mean really miserable, I'm not talking about, well, this situation stinks or this is not going the way I want. I mean 14 days of no water, no power, no sewer. I mean 14 days of miserable living. How would you handle that situation? So I want to talk about a few of the things that we saw and a few of the remedies that you can do, just some simple things that makes life easier. Because here's what I learned. I learned that it's the little bitty things that makes it tolerable. Because we can all go a few days without power. We can all go a few days without running water. I don't like it. Don't like not having a bath and don't like not having lights. But there's other means or other options that we can do, and it's the options that we need to talk about. It's the little things that can make life less miserable while the power's off. So those are the things that I want to discuss. And again, I'm going to be as candid as I possibly can. With a little bit of preparation, there would have been a lot of folks not half as miserable as they were. A lot of folks had a lot of things prepared and a lot of folks didn't. So I want to talk about the things that will make life easier when you have an opportunity to get prepared. When you have a few days ahead time, hey, there's storms coming in on Thursday. There's not a person watching this video right now that doesn't have news that tells you that the 7-day forecast, well, 6 days from now or 5 days from now, there's going to be severe thunderstorms that comes through, or there's a hurricane coming up through the Gulf. We have time to make preparations, and that's what I want to talk about. What can I do right now today to be ready in 3 or 4 days from now to make my life not so miserable? Now, I'm not going to be able to do all of this in one video, so I'm going to make a couple of videos, but I'm going to try to cover a couple of these categories. Okay, so I have written 4 categories up on my marker board that I want to talk about. 4 different categories that affects people's lives to make you a whole lot less miserable. So let's talk about the first one. The first one is power. So you already know that if you're going to have severe storms, there's a darn good chance you're going to lose electricity. So there's a big difference, though, between say a severe thunderstorm coming through, a tornado coming through, or a hurricane coming through. The bigger the storm, the more widespread and the more severe the outages are going to be. So what can we do And there's a lot of things you could do. You could have a home generator installed, just have life back within just seconds and just be happy. But I'm going to be honest, not everybody can afford to have a home generator installed. So what else can we do? If we don't have a home generator, what are some things that we can do to get power back on in the house? So the 4 categories are power, water, food, and sanitation. Sanitation was a big one over there. We're going to save sanitation for the second video. So let's talk about power. Kat and myself, y'all know we live on the farm, and we have made preparations for the lights being out. We just have. We have purchased a generator that we can literally plug into the house and power the house back up. Now, it's not a throw over home generator. It's just a pull behind generator. But I've wired a cord coming out of our power box, our power panel, that I can open up the main breaker that goes to the power company, and I can close that generator in on the house and just pick the house up. Because I think it's important, and one thing that makes life less miserable when the lights are out is if I can watch the news. Let me see what's going on. Hey, have they got poles up? How many lights are out? Is there more weather coming? Those are the kind of things that I need to know. So me personally, I want to be able to watch TV. So your TV and your satellite box or your internet box, it does not require a whole lot of wattage to run, and that's a good thing. So if I don't require a lot of wattage to run, there's different things that I can do to get the TV back on, or to get the a satellite box or the internet box back on. So I've got a couple of things over here, and I want you to know I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I'm not trying to sell products for anybody. These are some things that we have over here just for a certain, or just for such an incident to take place, that we can get the TV back on. So these couple of items, one of them is a solar generator. Let me tell you what a solar generator is. A solar generator is a battery, like your car battery or your boat battery, inside of a contained box with an inverter on it, and an inverter changes DC voltage or battery voltage to wall plug voltage. And they have an inverter. It has a digital screen on the front that I can read the screen and see how charged my battery still is and how much longer the thing's gonna last. So a solar generator, it's some more kind of nice for power outages. This particular one is a 2,000 watt generator. So what that means is this, that I can make a total of 2,000 watts of appliances and plug them into this generator. And again, it's a solar generator. It's not a gas operated generator. You plug solar panels into this thing and charge the internal battery. When I charge the internal battery, it's like a flashlight. I flip the switch and the light comes on. Well, in this particular solar generator, it has AC outlets, or it has wall plug outlets across the top. It has 4 different outlets. So on those 4 different outlets, I can plug in the TV. Also, I can plug in the internet box or the satellite box to be able to watch the news. It's the small things that give us that comfort. It's the small things that brings a little bit of peace when the situation around you bites. Give me some small things to try to give me some normalcy back in my life. So with a device like this, I could plug the TV in and I can watch the news. Also, I could plug the refrigerator in, or I could plug the deep freeze in and save my food. So while I'm on power, and it's going to go in the food category when I get there, you would not believe the amount of deep freeze food that we saw dumped on the sides of some of those county roads, where everybody was having to clean out their deep freeze. Bless their heart, these people, we saw thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of meat thrown out on the side of some of those dirt roads. It was awful over there, of the food that people had to throw away because they had no way to keep the deep freeze froze. Did you know that a deep freeze can go somewhere around 12 hours as long as you leave the lid closed, and this is like a 7 cubic foot or a 9 cubic foot deep freeze, it can go around 12 hours without having to have any kind of charge or any kind of electricity to the deep freeze. But after around 12 hours, you got to do something different. So here's an amazing thing about a solar generator. A solar generator, this 2,000 watt solar generator, is big enough that I could plug the refrigerator in, or I could plug the deep freeze in. And I'm going to be honest, those are two devices that I'm going to charge. I'm going to keep electricity to them as much as I possibly can. I want to watch TV, but I don't want to lose all of that food that Kat and myself have put up in deep freezes. So we have got a means of plugging the deep freeze up and plugging the refrigerator up. Now, these things are a little bit costly, and that's fine too. There's other options. The box that you see behind me is a jump box that I bought from Walmart. And when I say jump box, it's a car jumping off box. But the thing about this particular jumping off box to jump your car off with, this thing comes with also a built-in inverter. Remember what I told you an inverter does. An inverter changes battery voltage into wall plug voltage. So this thing has a battery internal, but up on the top, it has one wall plug. So I can plug my deep freeze into this device and get my deep freeze to run at least for several hours to make sure that I can keep that thing charged. So on an average, a deep freeze needs to run 3 to 4 hours to get enough charge to make that thing last for 12 hours. So now we've already got most of the day covered. The good thing about the solar generator is it's charged by solar panels. So as long as the sun comes out, those 12 hours that I don't have the deep freeze plugged into this solar charger, I can have solar panels hooked to it, recharging the battery so that I can plug the deep freeze back into this thing and let the deep freeze run. So there's a lot of options when it comes to power for me to be able to at least save my food or to save the things that's in my refrigerator. Stella, quit chasing stuff. All right, power is a biggie. So with power also comes lights. I've had several people that commented on the video that I made a couple of days ago about like bug out bags and keeping batteries for flashlights and lanterns. I guarantee you that most of the people that are watching this video, your mom or your grandmother at some point in time had a little oil lantern that they set somewhere on a mantle. Well, let me tell you something about those little oil lanterns or those little kerosene lanterns. You can go to Walmart today and buy one of those little oil lamps or a little kerosene lamp, and those things are like 10 bucks for the lamp, and you can buy all of the fuel that you need. They come in little cans on a shelf beside them at Walmart, and those things will run 18 to 20 hours once that you light the little thing off one little tank of gas. And with the can that you can buy, you can fill that reservoir up 3 or 4 times. So with one can, you can get several days of light out of one of those little kerosene lamps. And when we get up to the light portion, I'm going to get that thing out and I'm going to show y'all how they work. They're super easy. I've made a video in the past that has it on it, and it works great. So batteries are a must. Flashlights are a must. Those are things that we can buy throughout the year and just keep them put up or keep them stored. Shelf lives on batteries are typically 2 or 3 years if you don't use them, and some of them are even longer than that depending on the type battery you buy. So power is a major struggle when the lights go out about how are we going to preserve our food or how are we going to be able to watch the news. So in the power category, we're going to put some type of generator. Also for power, we want to have batteries for flashlights. And how about this? This is something that we can all afford. and it's something that we can get and put them up in storage that are easy to maintain. So have you guys ever been to Walmart or to Dollar General or anywhere and saw all of those little outdoor like patio solar lights that you can buy from Walmart? So I want to put solar lights down here. Solar lights is something that we can all afford, and here's the best thing about them: they put off a good bit of light, and it's optional whether or not you put it on the little post, put the little light on the little post inside the house. You can, most of them, the little post will come off of, and you could just set the little lights around the house, and they stay charged for multiple hours after it gets dark. But here's the good thing: in the morning time, you can set those lights right back outside in the sun and let those batteries and those lights charge back up. That electricity is free. Once you pay for the little light, it doesn't cost anything every day to charge the little battery up. So solar lights, outdoor solar light. Listen, this is in emergency situations. Nobody wants a solar light in the living room, but I'd rather have a solar light in the living room when the power's out than no light at all. And these are very cheap options that we can buy. Flashlights and solar lights and the little kerosene lamps. I'm going to write that down. Have the little lamps that you can use that runs for 18 or 20 hours on one little tank of fuel. So those are great options when it comes to ways that I can get the small things. Remember what I told you, it's the small things. Give me some small conveniences and it makes my situation not be near as bad as it possibly could have been. It's the little bitty things that will keep you from being so miserable when you don't have power. So here are four major things: a generator, flashlights, solar lights, and lamps. If you can get those items, and it doesn't have to be a gas operated generator. Here's the good thing about solar generators is that you can set them in the house. They don't have to be left outside like you would a gas burning generator. I can set this thing in the floor beside the deep freeze and plug the deep freeze directly into it and let my deep freeze charge for 5 or 6 hours, or let it stay on for 5 or 6 hours to keep it froze, and it'll last for 12 more hours without anything hooked to it. So I can unhook the deep freeze for at least 12 hours and plug something else up into the solar generator. So I can move the solar generator around like I need to, but every 12 hours, I want to plug my deep freeze and my refrigerator back into this solar generator and let that deep freeze stay froze. Bless their heart, I'm telling you, it was awful at the amount of food that we seen thrown away. But I'm going to get off of that. If we get prepared, that's not an issue that we've got to deal with. So you need a solar generator that is somewhere of at least 1,000-watt generator to be able to pull your deep freeze. Here's the thing about a deep freeze. A deep freeze typically don't use but 300 to maybe 350 watts for that deep freeze to run. But to get the compressor to start, it takes a little bit more than that. So a 1,000-watt solar generator or a 1,000-watt inverter is all you'll need to maintain the food that you have inside your house. So here are just options. Some type of generator, where it's a solar generator or a gas generator, flashlights and batteries. I'm going to put batteries down here up under it. Batteries, solar lights. Solar lights are going to be the savior. The solar lights are easy to charge, they're easy to maintain, and they put off a good bit of light. And also the little oil lamps. The oil lamps are also a great option to have inside the house. All right, for right now, we're going to stop on electricity, on power, and I want to go to water. We're going to make at least 2 portions of this video, and we'll do water and we'll do power today, and then we'll do food and we'll do sanitation. All right, so water. What is a good option for water? Well, the thing is, they sell bottled water all day long for human consumption. So you can go to Dollar General and buy bottled water. Bottled water is definitely the way to go when the lights are out, because sometimes you still have water when the lights are out, but sometimes you don't, because the pumping station at whoever your utility is that provides you with water, those pumping stations work off of electricity. So once the reservoir or the big tank that you see when you drive around, you see those big tanks up in the air. Once those big tanks run out of water, then you're out of water. So bottled water to drink is a great way to go. And I think, as most of you know, a couple of weeks ago, I took a bath in the parking lot with 5 bottles of water, washed my hair, and remember, this is a candid conversation. I washed every part of my body in a parking lot with bottled water. So it can be done. But do I want to use my drinking water for my bathing water? Because there's different options or different things that we can do. First of all, buy bottled water, whether it's in the small bottles or it's in the gallon jugs. You can buy drinking water in gallon jugs, which is a great idea. It costs a little of nothing if you get it at places like Dollar General. So buy you several gallons of water. I would at least say, if you know a major storm is coming, at least get you enough gallons of water and enough bottles of water to last you for at least 3 to 5 days. So that would be 2 or 3 cases of bottled water and maybe 5 or 6 cases of gallons of water. So I'm going to put gallons down here. If I buy several gallons of water, now I can use that water to cook with. I can use that water to clean with. It's the little things that make me not so miserable. I don't care how bad the situation is. If you give me the little bitty things, then I can find a place that I can tolerate how bad the situation is. If you can let me keep the counter clean and let me wash dishes, I'm a lot happier person. If you can let me take a bath, I'm a lot happier person. And I'm going to be honest with you. I told you we're going to have a candid conversation. We had an opportunity to speak with several people that hadn't had a bath in several days. And come on, I understand that if the situation sneaks up on you, it's possible that that's going to happen. But if you knowingly know there's a storm coming and you don't at least get some water, you're setting yourself up for failure. There was one guy, he needed a bath, something awful. And I felt so sorry for him, I didn't know what to do. There was absolutely nothing we can do but get his lights back on so that his well works and that man can get him a bath. Bless his heart, it is what it is. Candid conversations. You don't want to stink when the lights are out. There's ways around that. Even if it's 5 bottles of water in the parking lot, there's other ways or other things that you can do to keep from stinking. So buy gallons of water. You can buy 5-gallon buckets with a lid on it that you can get from Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere like that. And you can fill, if you know there's a storm coming, you can fill those 5-gallon buckets up. You can fill those 5-gallon buckets up with water. And you don't have to tote them. You can leave them sitting in the bathroom floor or in the kitchen floor and dip water out of those 5-gallon buckets with a pot or a boiler or whatever you need to do. But if you at least had 2 to 3 buckets, that's 15 gallons of water, of clean, drinkable water, bathable water, or whatever you need to do. So you can dip enough water out of a 5-gallon bucket to get you a real good bath. You can wash the counter, you can wash dishes, you can do whatever you need with that water and get yourself cleaned up. Personal hygiene is big. The day that they finally got the showers working where we were at, it was a plus for all of us. As soon as we all had an opportunity to get clean, we hit another gear. You get to a point that you're miserable, and misery is awful. But once you let us take a bath, then we can put some more wire in the air and we can do different things to get lights on. So baths went a long way with the folks over there trying to restore power. So be to where you can get clean. Get you several 5-gallon buckets and save you some water. Put a lid on them and have you some good clean water. And here's the last one with water, and we're going to wrap this video up. Tomorrow I'll make another video on food and on sanitation. So the fourth thing that I want to put down here, and there's a guy that subscribed to the channel. It's a dear friend of mine, great guy named Mr. Pick. Mr. Pick sent me a text and said, Tony, one thing that we always do before a storm comes is we fill the bathtub up with water. That's a brilliant idea. I've never thought of that before. So I want to put down, fill bathtub. Fill the bathtub up with water. Now then, now it falls into the last category, into the sanitation. So we're not going to get on sanitation yet, but just know that if my bathtub was full of water, I could take water from that bathtub and put it in my toilet and flush my toilet. You would not believe the amount of sewage that we smelt the whole time. And most of these people it's in rural areas, and the majority of them have septic tanks. So if you can flush the toilet, all of your business goes down the toilet. Remember, this is a candid conversation. We all go to the toilet and we all have to use the bathroom. So if I had a way to flush that toilet, that's an odor that I don't have to have in my house until water gets restored. I can always dip water out of the bathtub, fill up the back of the tank on that toilet, and I can flush that toilet. Listen, it's the little bitty things that make you not be so miserable. There's a lot of things that we saw, and bless their heart, just a little bit of preparation, folks would have been a lot more comfortable during this whole situation. Stella, come over here so me and you can wrap this video up. Okay, so there are two different categories, and tomorrow we'll do the other two categories. We appreciate y'all watching the video. All of a sudden my nose is running. But we appreciate y'all watching the video. Here are two categories, and I want y'all to write these things down, and I want you to start building you a list of things that you can start buying. You can buy bottled water. You can buy a couple of 5-gallon buckets. They cost little of nothing, and put those buckets up until the next time a storm comes. The difference between you and your neighbor is you'll be able to go to the toilet. You'll also be able to take a bath, and you'll have drinking water, and you'll have a way to clean your house or clean your counters off. All right, listen. Me and Stella love y'all. And candid conversations are not always the conversations you want to have, but sometimes they have to be had. So me and Stella love you to death. And as always, life's an adventure. Don't get caught sitting at home. Y'all get your rear end out and start buying some items and putting them up. You don't have to buy everything at once. While there's no storms, maybe this month, go get a couple of 5-gallon buckets and a couple of cases of water and buy a few batteries, and let's start getting prepared for the next time that the storm comes through. Because listen, the storm's coming. The storm's coming. The storms always come. The storm will always come. But how prepared you are is going to be the difference between how miserable you are. Don't let the bad situation tear you apart on the inside. It's the little bitty things that makes life more comfortable. Don't get caught sitting at home.